Hey everyone, this is American Priest, and I am still here and still interested in continuing to put out videos of spiritual lessons and practical exercises for meditation and for the achievement of physical immortality. I've got a few announcements, and then I'll get on to this lesson. The announcement being I've got a new website at thegraveyardcowboy.com and also a new podcast on Blog Talk Radio called The Graveyard Cowboy Show. And that you can also find that on our new website at thegraveyardcowboy.com. Now, today's lesson is going to be twofold. The first part is going to be about non-dual meditation. And I talked about this on the first episode of the podcast, but the non-dual meditation basically involves simply a meditation on the integration of opposites. It's an intellectual concept, but in the meditation, you're basically consciously trying to imagine being at the center of all opposites. The Buddha talked about being in the middle, or going the middle way, the middle path. And the object here is to stay within the middle of light and shadow, in the middle of heaven and hell, in the middle of good and bad, in the middle of existence and absence, and so on and so forth, as far as many opposites as you can imagine. For those of you that have looked into Eastern mysticism, Taoism is very good at setting up opposites, night and day, sun and moon, even emotional opposites as far as happiness and sadness. And just imagine all of those, and imagine your own experience, because I think when you start to try to integrate these things and imagine being in the middle of all these opposites, it's a very subjective experience. It's very much something that your own understanding is going to be hard to articulate to another in a way where they're going to be exactly the same. But suffice to say, everyone has tons of conflicts and contradictory forces at them, a masculine and feminine. That's another pair of opposites. But just imagine staying in the middle of all opposites, and some are easier to do that with than others, and some you don't even really want to bring together. For example, I personally will get kind of blocked up on good and evil. Trying to stay in the middle of good and evil is hard to wrap your mind around. It's a lot easier to say light and shadow and think of being both and staying in the middle, or having both of those components in yourself, or seeing both of those components in the world equally. But when you start trying to equate good and evil, or try to think of, well, what would be the middle, anyways, that can be a mental exercise. But again, even with something like this, I don't think you can hold on to it too tight. It's not perfectly literal. Perfect literalists that take everything extremely literally, 1 equals 1 equals 1, and hold on to it real tight, I think you're going to lose some stuff if you hold on to these things quite that tight. And it took me a while to figure that out. In fact, it took me taking them too literally and too seriously and with too much anxiety, taking all these ideas that way, in order for me to realize it's kind of a deeper level where that kind of tight conscious grip isn't there. It's more of a kind of inner knowing, as the Gnostics say. Gnosticism, gnosis, the inner knowing. And it's a healthy thing. It's not a heresy. It's just intuition, or whatever word you want to use for it. And the other part of today's meditation is going to be one of my favorite exercises personally. And that's just going to the local sauna, or maybe you have your own sauna, but I usually go to a fitness club or a fitness center. And dry saunas are extremely powerful, as are whirlpools, as are steam rooms. And as far as the dry sauna goes, there's plenty of empirical research coming out now showing all the health benefits for a dry sauna. So while I'm going to be advocating to use the sauna as a conscious time to meditate and to do even specific meditations and to work with it consciously as a spiritual practice, from a sheerly physical standpoint, there are strong correlations between use of the sauna and healing a lot of medical diseases and conditions and making improvements for people that don't necessarily have a disease or a condition but simply want to be healthier. So there's plenty of research coming out now, and you can find plenty of support for that online if you're interested and if you need that justification. For me, going there can be turned into a way to go deeper into the center of myself, deeper into the unconscious. I think when you haven't been using a sauna and you begin to use one thing that can happen that always assures me that it is doing something good is it will take me deeper into the unconscious. And I don't mean anything complicated by that. I simply mean perhaps whatever I dreamt the night before, or whatever I woke up thinking about, or whatever I thought about in the middle of the night, if I woke up during the middle of the night, might all of a sudden come back to the forefront of my head in the sauna. So it's almost as if you're going deeper and deeper into sleep. And in the Hindu tradition, that's deeper and deeper into consciousness. I mean, they have the surface level of waking life, then they have dreaming sleep, and then they have dreamless sleep. And then at the very base, they have the Atman, which I guess you could call the soul or the soul's union with the all, or enlightenment, or whatever you will. But the sauna can pretty much take me to a point where, I'm definitely from that waking life into dreaming sleep. I'm a level of consciousness deeper, but obviously I'm still awake. I certainly don't advocate passing out in a dry sauna, and if you feel like you're in danger, by all means walk out and get some water. But that is a sign that it can be taking you deeper. It is fire, the fire element, as far as healing. Obviously, it's been used in pagan and shamanic traditions from a variety of cultures, from sweat lodges to Eastern European and even Scandinavian traditions, which considered the sauna a temple and a holy place. And another thing that I think is really powerful in the sauna is the emptiness meditation. And I mentioned the emptiness meditation in some of my other videos. I'll also make it central in my book, which you can get on Amazon. It's called The Handbook of the Eternal Body by American Priest, and there's a link at the bottom of this video. And I talk about emptiness and the importance of the emptiness meditation there. And I've also noticed another thing, and I could say tons of stuff about the sauna and about specific meditations, but I'm not going to go on and on because I think to some degree the most important thing is that you kind of find your own way in there, in sweat lodges, in vision quest and things like that. It's often the seeker is left on his own or her own to just find their own way. And That's sometimes the quickest and surest route to really integrating depth. But when you do a lot of meditation outside of the sauna, uh, when you're in good spiritual fitness in your own life, and you're praying regularly or you're meditating regularly, you're doing whatever practice it is you do, all of a sudden the sauna, I have found the sauna's not near as hot. You can actually stay in there a lot longer. So I guess what I'm saying is, the more you kind of train your mind and your heart in meditation and prayer, the longer you can stay in the sauna. So it's kind of a mind over matter that seems to kind of happen naturally. I think a lot of people that aren't used to prayer and meditation, they'll get in the sauna, and it'll be hot, 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 and they'll just have to run out. They can't stay there very long. I mean, not that that's all there is to it, but the point being is that there's some sort of sense of relationship between how much you actualize your own mind and develop your own consciousness, some sort of relationship between that and how much you can weather those really hot conditions without the heat overtaking you. So it's just something to pay attention to. And again, I'm American Priest. I've got a new website at thegraveyardcowboy.com. You can always check there as time goes on. Blessings to everyone.